Jeff, I want to go to Jeffrey now, Mr. McCoy. Jeffrey Steele is here with us. Jeffrey, question, comment, and he said something that is similar to your position that you've taken here on the show as well, in terms of black police officers having done some vile things to black people. Go ahead, Jeffrey. This is Jeffrey, Mr. McCoy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. McCoy, I just want to thank you for making that clear. Brother Wallace is absolutely right. I totally agree that we need to have officers in our community that look like us and care about us. But we also need to be aware that there are officers, like you said, that look like us, that have a mind that is not of us and do not care for us, because they've been they're a victim of being
brainwashed
by racism, white supremacy, and they're in that paradigm of white supremacy being in the police department. So we need to make sure that we, I agree with you, we need officers. I think the way you put it is we don't need more black police officers, but more officers that want to be black. And I would definitely agree with that statement 100%. And the reason why is because we need officers that really have a relationship with the people in that community. So I agree with you, brother.
Okay, Lonnie, you have a few notes there. Comment, question for Mr. McCoy?
I just wanted to agree with what he said about identifying with the community. That plays the biggest part. And what he said about invested interest in the community and the people. So if we have officers that, like you said, if they are told to go patrol a certain community and they don't know anything about the people, they already have a pre-notion about the people or whatever, then their mindset is not to protect and serve, the community. It's just lock as many brothers you can up. So, and that's how they get the paycheck. So,
yeah. Now you said something. And I want to go to a serious question that was raised at the University of Memphis last week. But we'll come to that. Omar, you have a question, comment for Mr. McCoy? Then we'll go back to Mr. McCoy.
Yeah, I wanted to know from Mr. McCoy, what are the chances of those officers that have been framed, what are their chances of getting that overturned?
I couldn't hear that question. What was it?
Talk right into it.
What's those officers that have been framed and have given those extensive prison sentences? What's the chances of those officers getting justice in this system?
That is a fantastic question, and I am so glad you answered that question, sir. So let me tell you what's going on. And I'm going to back it up 1 second to that previous gentleman. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I'm going to make a point, the reason I said we don't need any more black police officers. In this investigation that this so-called devil named Michael W. Hope conspired to frame me and my officers, and there is no basis for us ever robbing anybody. When I get a chance, and this thing is over, I want to come down to Memphis and meet you gentlemen. I'm going to give you a notebook.
Absolutely, yes.
The city of Chicago gave me for doing great police work. I'm going to tell you about the people that I helped in that community, taking them over to Malcolm X Junior College to register them for school. These are the people I arrested. I'm going to tell you about the people that we arrested and we would go to court, and some of them needed not be in court. They just needed to be able to see that the criminal justice system wasn't for them. And we helped get jobs and get on their way. I'm going to tell you about the 35 people that I took out here
give me that website again?
It's called www.austin7.com. I couldn't get anybody, TC McCoy, I couldn't get any black lawyer in the city of Chicago to step forth to help me really these black men who were kidnapped. They were not arrested. They were kidnapped off the street, taken downtown to the Metropolitan Correctional Center, and they weren't interrogated. They were tortured to lie on me and other officers, and they refused. And these were the youngest officers on our team that the federal government, along with the Chicago Police Department, identified and thought that they would break. And these young officers stood firm. And to show you how bad that the government treats our black people, because they would not lie on us, the government gave Officer Edward Jackson Jr. 115 years in the penitentiary on a $10,000 robbery that they know he never did. They gave Officer M.L. Moore 109 years, the one down in Tennessee, on a robbery of a sergeant who participated in a robbery of an FBI agent, and he had the audacity to go to court and testify. You got another gentleman who's still in the penitentiary, they Officer Alex Ramos, who they charged with differing an FBI agent through the city of Chicago and protecting a drug shipment. And after Officer Ramos was arrested in December of 1996, less than 8 months later, that same FBI agent was sent to New Orleans, where he engaged in a conspiracy to tell a drug dealer in New Orleans that the federal government was investigating him. And he told the drug dealer, give me a $3,000 gambling trip out of a gambling casino. The federal government was exploiting him. And when he went to court, when they arrested him, he told them, if you prosecute me and give me 20 years for this, I'm going to tell about the Austin 7, and they gave him 3 years not to expose this big conspiracy to violate the civil rights of these people in this community and to criminalize them.
Okay, Omar?
Again, I am not surprised. I am not surprised. This is the most wicked government I have seen since I have been breathing on earth. This government that we're under. And even though Obama's in the White House, this man has no power. He goes along with the status quo. He's one of the biggest killer presidents I've ever seen since George Bush, the one who just left the White House. You know, I have a nephew who recently married, and the wife, father is a former FBI agent. I haven't spoken to him, face to face directly, but what he told me was that we do some dirty things. We put people in jail that should never be there because we set them up, and then we convict them for crimes they didn't commit. He said we did some dirty work, and he said I'm ashamed of a lot of what I did. That's why I went ahead and retired. I am not surprised, Mr. McCoy. I am not surprised at all.
Okay, so this goes to the fact that many so-called black police officers are engaged and participating in this kind of crime and corruption. But TC, let me ask you, how does it look in terms of community support on a scale of 1 to 10? Where is that? And are we going to be able to move to bring in more community support? It sounds like, as I think about it and think about this problem in terms of a solution, is there a need now to step up the game in terms of rallying more community support? Go ahead, Mr. McCoy.
Yeah, what happened is, Mr. Redd, thank you for that question again. That's a fantastic question. To answer that, let me just say this to your listening audience. Everything that I say, I can prove.
Yeah.
These policemen went so far. It's not my word against theirs. They put this thing on film, and we have just opened up a website. I don't know if it's up and running now. the exact robbery in which these guys were charged with. This criminal enterprise in the city of Chicago that I knew nothing about, they went to the extent of going and get a gentleman who looked like me. He was a civilian arrested. He was close to my height and weight and my look to do a robbery of an FBI agent. Not only did they go get him, but they gave him an undercover police card to participate in this robbery. Then they had another gentleman, you would see it on my documentary that I got on my website, Free the Austin 7, that there's a sergeant who looks identical. And this is unbelievable. He looks like Officer Edward Jackson Jr. He was working in this investigation against us. His name is Herb Brown Jr. He's now a sergeant in the 5th District on the south side of Chicago. This gentleman right here participated in the robbery of an FBI agent. I got all the documentation, everything that's going on, and now we got the community support.
Okay.
And I could not get one black lawyer to help me, so I had to turn to a Jewish lawyer to help me free these black men out of the penitentiary. And thanks to you calling the radio station the other day, you allowed me to use your medium and to use the people that you are now doing things with to let them know about the service of justice. We got to raise money because I wasn't big on this money thing, but we need to raise a lot of money. Because there's a lot of legal paperwork that you have to file, and it costs money to file it to prove that these gentlemen are innocent. 3 of them have been languishing in the penitentiary for the last 18 and a half years. Their families have been decimated. Their lives have been decimated. And these criminal policemen have been allowed to collect the check for 18 and a half years. I went to the Chicago Police Department. I wrote a letter to Eric Holden, me and Dan Hill, the leader of the Afro-American Police League, and he sent us a form letter back and told us to take it and go back to the police department and have them investigate their own crime, which was ludicrous. I believe what your gentleman said is, we got all these black men in power with no power, like President Obama, who know that they're out here and these policemen are framing people for crimes that they commit, putting our black leaders in jail because we took on the position of helping our black people out of this maze of criminality, and we wanted to see everybody on success. And I'll just say this as I shut this up. All I want for you and your audience and the people in this city is what I want for myself. And that's to live a prosperous life legally without interference from anybody trying to frame me for something that you didn't do.
Right. Well, let me ask you, when it comes to African American leadership, police officers, President Obama, Eric Holder, whomever, in terms of courage and not stepping up, addressing the issues as you are, is it, in your estimation, is it a matter of fear and money? Fear in terms of addressing the issue and accepting money, however much it is, for not addressing the issue. In your 18 years of experience with this matter, give us your take on that, TC.
Okay, let me just say this. I had the opportunity to meet a gentleman that answered that question that you just asked. I know you are familiar with Dr. John Paulo. You know him as John Paulo, but he's a doctor. He's got a PhD. And he lives in Atlanta right now, and he raised the black glove in the 1968 Olympics. And I had an opportunity to visit with him, who gave me all the information in the world. He said that a lot of us as black men have been co-opted, not because of money, and it was also because of fear. He said before he raised that black glove in the 1968 Olympics, his handlers told him, if you raise that glove, you're going to lose a lot of money. He had to decide between money and what was right for his people. And he told what was right for his people. And then he gave me the key to something that I never thought about, and I wouldn't believe until I investigated. He said, because of what I did in the 1968 Olympics, Oprah Winfrey was allowed to have a TV show. He said, if you remember back before that happened, we only had a few black big-time actors and actresses. Ellie Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, Sammy Davis Jr. He said, when I raised the consciousness around the world of what was going on in America, and I mistaked money because I had to do it for my people, that's when I decided that was more important than fear. Because as he closed in his statement to me, he said, C.C. McCoy, remember one thing, you're going to die anyway, so you might as well die doing the right thing.
Yes. Omar? What about that? What about, that makes me think about something Tupac said. That I'd rather live like a man than die like a cow. That a coward dies, Mr. T.C. McCoy, 1,000 deaths. Where a brave man only dies one time.
That's right. And listen, brother.
Yes, sir.
We need to, I'm not doing this for these officers. We're going to be okay. This story is going to be told because one thing about it, I remember what Brother Ali Muhammad said to me in the class one day. He said, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, everyone, the truth cannot be sacrificed for anyone's interest. And I believe that. Everybody must know the truth. You can't cover this up. And it's not about these officers going to jail. It's about a community that couldn't help itself.
Yes.
A community that felt so raw that you go downtown, the people were living good. You go on the north side, the people were living good. And then they see policemen in their community that look like them, and a lot of those policemen being dressed enough. And then you see officers who went to work every day and were not afraid to run through that burning building, were not afraid to confront that man with a gun. And what I'm saying to you and your audience, I want you to come to Chicago, and I want you to meet the people. Don't meet them for me.
Okay.
I'm going to introduce you to the people. I'm going to introduce you to the people who were lawbreakers at that time. I don't like calling them criminals. I'm talking about lawbreakers who will tell you if I am lying. The reason the Chicago Police Department did not attack me is because they did not get the people that we put in jail to lie on us. That's the reason they had to go get the police to pretend that they were drug dealers. And as I said in numerous occasions on many shows that I've been on, were these policemen pretending to be drug dealers, or were these drug dealers pretending to be police?
Question, comment, Lonnie?
Well, that was good.
That was profound, huh?
That was profound. We had a case like that in Jackson, Tennessee, some years ago, where two officers they were actually out robbing drug dealers, or they had a case against them where they actually did, try to actually rob this guy, take his money or whatever, because he was a known drug dealer or whatever. And they got convicted. I don't remember how long the sentence was, but it just brings to mind, we do need to start policing those that police us, and we have to. Who's going to hold them accountable?